What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Pinfalls and Playbooks podcast, episode number 30. As always, I'm your host, Faiz Kabir, alongside my co-host, Vardan Khan. And guys, it's a special week in sports this week, where we finally culminating to the end of the NFL season. It's Super Bowl week. Our teams are set, and we already know what's going down. In terms of wrestling, we're coming off the Royal Rumble. It looks like we're heading all straight roads to WrestleMania right now, which is very exciting. In terms of NBA, we had some pretty interesting trades that just recently happened. We're going to be talking about our two favorite games. And also, as always, it's pretty much we're going to be doing where this is going to be our last best things that we're going to talk about, because we're going to be introducing a new segment going forward. But for now, this is our best things going into our last 2026. So let's talk about it, and we're going to get into this episode right now. All right, guys, first we're going to start off with our wrestling recap, and first things first, Royal Rumble. So we're going to go over quick, it was only 4 matches on the show, and we're going to give our huge, very super high level thoughts on each match. First, we had the Women's Royal Rumbles match, and this match started off with Charlotte Flair, who actually was the winner last year, and she was also the Iron Woman in this entire match. She went over almost 59 minutes, I think.
Almost an hour.
Almost an hour. So I think, I'm not sure if she probably does have the women's record to be that longest.
As of right now, yeah. Oh, no, Rhea Ripley, no? A couple years? Cause
she won at number 1 too, yeah. She won at number 1. It's probably her, but yeah. Charlotte Flair, she won in an hour, and it was started with Alexa Bliss. One of the few things about this match, Lash Legend was probably the biggest standout.
Yeah, I kind of picked her mid-match. I'm like, yo, she's probably going to win this, because she was pretty much dominating the whole women's roster.
It's because obviously, like, you could see that WWE sees a future in her as well, so they were able to like pretty much push her and get the huge eliminations. Next up, another thing is we had the Bella Twins. Pretty much, we knew that Nikki Bella was going to be there, but Brie Bella kind of surprised
everybody. She shocked the world, because it's like, we wasn't expecting her to be back. It kind of was just like an homage to Daniel Bryan, in my opinion. She kept doing all the moves that he did.
It don't matter. Well,
it doesn't matter, but it's a good nostalgia effect for the.
And at that point, she had the biggest reaction of the night. Which is actually crazy to say that Brie Bella had a bigger reaction than Roman Reigns, and everybody included. Yeah. So you could tell that it was a surprise that people were genuinely looking for it, and it was a surprise that they didn't expect.
For sure, for sure.
So that was that part.
She hasn't been back in what, like almost 10 years now, no?
It's been a while. It's been a long time. I think it was ever since Daniel Bryan left, she left. So it's like, it makes sense. But pretty much, overall, this match was pretty mid from the beginning. Like, there was nothing crazy really happening. But it got very good in the last 5 minutes of the match, where we got to the final eliminations. And the final 3 we got to was Tiffany Stratton, who came in at number 30. And then we also had Liv Morgan, and we had the NXT superstar Sol Ruca, who we definitely know that WWE is very high on, because she was able to get that card. She was on that Saturday Night's main event card against Bayley, so you could tell that she was definitely someone that they see very future and value in.
And she showed out. She had a great performance. I think she had the best women's performance out of all of them.
Out of everybody, she ended up having the best performance because obviously she has one of the best stunning finishers in the WWE. And we got to pretty much at the end of the match where they were all fighting on the apron, and they were all trying to deliver their moves, their finishers, and Liv Morgan ended up leaking out the win, and she ends up winning the Women's Royal Rumble.
Which, I remember last week, I was like, yo, she's my dark horse to win. I just feel like she had a lot going for her, and there's not really much. Obviously, people are talking about, perhaps Raquel Rodriguez was going to beat Stephanie Vaquer for the world title.
Right.
Which we'll talk about in our Raw recap. But at the end of the day, I feel like Liv Morgan, it just kind of made sense for her to win. She's never won. And she's probably the most,
she came runner-up 2 times in a row.
And she's probably, if not top 5 women's wrestlers right now. So
for sure,
I'm happy for her, to be honest.
Yeah, I know originally we all picked Bianca Belair, and it makes you think, like, how injured is really Bianca Belair? Because,
or if she really is injured, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but the thing is, that's the crazy thing. She's about to be out for almost a full year now.
Yeah.
And
she was nowhere to be seen.
Nowhere to be seen, nowhere to be found. AJ Lee was another surprising one that was not there as well. That was interesting to see. But Liv Morgan wins, and now she's going to be on this run to picking her opponent. Most likely, she's going to be picking Stephanie Vaquer, because I don't think she'd be going against Jade Cargill on that SmackDown roster. Yeah. But let's see how that goes. Next up, we had AJ Styles versus Gunther in the career-threatening match. In my opinion, this was the best match of the night by far.
For sure, yeah.
And these two, obviously, one of the best wrestlers in the world, both of them. So on any given day, especially knowing that it might be AJ Styles' last match, you know he's going to put it all out there. And this match was exactly what it was. It was basically a typical Gunther hard-hitting style match where Styles, you know he loves that type of wrestling and style. So he knew it can mesh well with Gunther. And giving these guys a pay-per-view or a PLE spot versus a Raw spot, this is way better.
Especially being at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, and this was way better than their match on Raw. So these guys put it out there in the show. Gunther was laying a beat down on Styles the entire match, where we thought maybe they might get into the angle where is Gunther going to get disqualified for beating the crap out of Styles too much? But no, the ref was kind of playing, and the ref had a lot to do with this match as well. He put a lot of emotion into this match. He was stopping the match, especially when we got to the end of the match where Gunther ultimately put Styles in a sleeper hold and ended up putting his lights out. And Styles did go out not tapping.
Yeah.
He went out by putting his lights out. And like I said, the ref played a huge factor in this, pretty much yelling at Styles to see if he's alive to do it. And Gunther ends up putting a possible career ending to AJ Styles.
We don't know because at the end of the match, we saw him basically acknowledge the crowd, walk out of the ring, and then come back into the ring.
Well, he took his gloves off.
He took his gloves
teased it,
and then put it back on.
Then put it back on.
Yeah, but then he left the ring, then went back in.
Then he went back in. So it's like, it might be one of the scenarios where he was just living in the moment. It was too hard to let go.
Oh yeah.
Or it might be something where we don't know what's playing out still because AJ Styles still I don't know if we're gonna expect any announcement from him, any promo or anything. We don't know if that's gonna happen anytime soon. But it's still very up in the air right now because a lot of people don't truly believe this is Styles' last match.
No, it can't be because he just had so much riding for him and there's still matches that people want to see. So why have him retire? I get it, it's 10 years after his first debut at the Royal Rumble in 2016. And I get that aspect of things, but you're going into WrestleMania season. AJ Styles is it's still a damn good wrestler in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably one of the best wrestlers right now, even at his age. So why not have him stick around for a little bit longer? Perhaps retire him maybe after WrestleMania, maybe at SummerSlam.
Right.
But at least give him a run. And I feel like if this is it, then that's terrible booking in my opinion. But then again,
but it's his choice at the end of the day.
We don't know what it actually is behind the scenes.
Yeah, for sure. And I guarantee you, this is going to be something that's probably going to be capped off on the Unreal Season 3. They're probably going to be talking about this Styles retirement stuff. And it's like, okay, are they doing this for cameras now? Because now a lot of people believe that WWE is doing backstage stuff prefabricated for the show.
True.
So that could be a factor that plays as well. Or is it something that he really wants to do and wants to retire? And I know that Styles is one of those wrestlers where he always said he wants to be someone that goes out on his own. He doesn't want to be one of those people where she just looks really bad now and the people are telling him to retire. So if he feels like he's still at the highest level and want to retire, then that's on him. But one thing I don't think we touched on is that he did file trademarks for his own character and his Phenomenal One character and pretty much his name. So it makes you think when people do that, they usually want to go outside of WWE and want to do things on the outside. And it makes you wonder, because I wouldn't be surprised if Styles is one of those people that just loves to wrestle and he wants to do a career tour where he goes to all these promotions that he used to work for.
And he deserves it.
And he could do that no problem. I think he could definitely go back to TNA, have some matches. He can go to Japan and have some more matches if he wanted to. So if that's the route he might want to do at the end of this year, but if this is the way he goes out in WWE, I think he went out in a great way because this is probably one of the top 5 matches I can remember him having.
That's true. Low key, he really had nothing left to accomplish. He's won pretty much all the titles, and he's had a great run, great rivalries.
Yeah.
And he just fit the moment really well, and he's been consistent all throughout his career with WWE, which is a good thing.
So we'll see how it goes, but we'll talk about what's next for Gunther as we see him on Monday Night Raw. But next up on this card, we had Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. This was pretty much the come-down match. This was actually the piss break match, which is crazy to think that the WWE Championship was the piss break match, and where a lot of people kind of like, okay, they came off the high off that Styles match, and now everybody needed to relax before the Rumble started again.
This was like, unless if you really wanted to see this match, you were going to see this
exactly,
match.
And everybody knew what was the outcome.
Yeah.
They knew that Sami Zayn wasn't going to win this match, and that's ultimately what happened. It's just, this was a match where it was okay at best, to be honest. And Drew McIntyre, he laid a beat down into Sami Zayn at the end. I believe he delivered like 3 Future Shock DDTs, and then like 2 Claymores, and it was out. So I guess in a little way, it kind of makes Sami still look a little strong by taking all those finishers.
Yeah, it was in Saudi Arabia. He's Muslim, and it just made sense for him to, I guess, win last week in Montreal, come to Saudi Arabia. So this is basically like a homecoming homage to Sami Zayn.
And Drew McIntyre is pretty much hot right now, so that's why you can't really take the title off of him.
Right.
Then we get into the meat and potatoes of this entire show is the Men's Royal Rumble match, where pretty much on SmackDown, we kind of had a spoiler where it was Braun Breaker was announced as entrant number 1 on the screen, and you already know WWE had to pivot after that because like if they already screwed that up, Braun Breaker came in at number 1, so they had a segment where Pierce was basically saying and Heyman, they were arguing where Braun Breaker is now coming in at number 2. So at number 1 to start off the match, we had no idea who it would be. And it was a pretty surprising one where we had the debuting Obafemi coming out at number 1 and just completely shocking the entire crowd. And my thing I was telling Farnan too, especially, if they didn't screw up that Braun Breaker, well, we didn't know what the plan was going to be because now we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Because now Braun Breaker actually didn't even he got into this match for maybe like 6-7 seconds.
Yeah.
And that's because he got attacked by the masked character. And we're trying to figure out exactly where's this story going? How long is this story going to go?
Because we don't know who this masked person was. A lot of people are saying...
Obviously, they're impersonating Seth Rollins.
Right,
so,
but I also saw rumors about it being Finn Balor, but obviously people are saying about the tattoo on his hand.
Yeah.
They covered it up. We don't know.
They saw up-close images. It looked like Logan Paul because of his blonde beard. It's literally a blonde beard, and in the vision, Logan Paul's the only one that has the blonde beard. So it makes you think, what's really going on in that Vision storyline? Is there secret agents? Is Logan Paul working with Seth Rollins? There's so many storylines that they can go on off of that. But Braun Breaker was a lot of people's picks to go and win this Rumble match.
It was my pick, I'll tell you that
And he was the first person eliminated.
And my man got into the ring, was dazed, and then got knocked right back out.
And it pretty much led to, that was the beginning of the start for Obafemi to go on a super dominant run where he was just eliminating people left and right, clearing the ring until, I believe, number 6 or 7 when Damian Priest finally came in and things started to calm down a little bit. But let's talk about some key highlights of this match. We're talking about, for example, Powerhouse Hobbs. He debuted as well. He's now known as Royce Keys. So that was a good debut. I believe.
Mr. Iguana.
Mr. Iguana and La Parka, these two are waste of spots.
Yeah,
the entire crowd did not give a flying fuck about them. Because like Saudi Arabia, it was so obvious that they don't watch AAA.
Yeah.
So those were two wasted spots right there.
I get Penta, I get Rey Mysterio, but those two.
If you really think about it, there was a lot of Mexican wrestlers in this.
I was watching it with my brother. I'm like, yo, why the hell do they have so many luchadors on this?
There's a
Royal
lot.
Rumble?
There's a lot.
They had two El Grandes. They had Rey Mysterio. They had Penta. They had Dragon Lee.
Yeah.
They had El Parka.
Rey Fenix.
And Rey Fenix.
And this is not even including. They forgot. Like even Santos Escobar was another one that could have even came out too as well. So it's like there's a lot of luchadors on that roster.
I get it. But like, not for this specific Royal Rumble because we don't know. And there was a lot of people that we could have seen. A lot of people we didn't see.
Yeah,
you know
for sure.
I mean?
But one of the other things is, one of the other big parts of this was Brock Lesnar also came back as well. And pretty much we thought, and based on a lot of the face-offs, it might set up this Brock Lesnar-Obafemi match potentially at WrestleMania. Brock Lesnar ended up eliminating Obafemi, which is very interesting to see. Cody Rhodes and LA Knight eliminated Brock Lesnar.
During a Jey Uso entrance,
which was kind of crazy.
It was like one of those things, like the camera just so happened to go back to Cody Rhodes and LA Knight attacking Brock Lesnar.
It made no sense because that's Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, and he just casually got thrown out. Like, what's going on over here?
That was kind of a weird camera angle decision making. Whoever decided to do that. Ultimately, we had Roman Reigns coming in as well. Roman Reigns ended up interrupting Jey Uso's running back entrance. And then Cody Rhodes was another person that a lot of people feared could possibly win this Rumble again.
Thank God he did.
And ultimately what happened in this angle is Cody Rhodes was pretty much dangling off the ropes, and we had the interference of Drew McIntyre come in and Claymore Cody pretty much obviously showing that feud is still continuing.
And it's going to keep going for probably till WrestleMania.
Exactly. But the thing is, like, those two fought already so many times one-on-one. I feel like it's impossible to give that match again just one-on-one. There has to be other people involved. And I think I talked about this way before Fatu even got injured. Maybe you do a Fatal 4-Way at Mania with Cody,
I was saying that.
Randy, Fatu. Yeah. That's the way to go, maybe. We'll see how that plays out. But ultimately, the Final Four we had, and number 30, who we thought, and kind of a lot of people did probably forgot, that Gunther was going to be, he did say he was going to be in the Rumble, and a lot of people didn't really think about it. And Gunther ended up coming in at number 30. I know a lot of people probably thought it was going to be Chris Jericho or it could be somebody else, but Gunther ultimately came out, and he ended up being in the Final Four. It was Gunther, Logan Paul, Randy Orton, and Roman Reigns. So, as soon as I saw that Final Four, I knew Roman Reigns was winning that.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting to see that Roman Reigns ends up winning the Royal Rumble, especially coming off of that promo that he did on Pat McAfee's show, saying that a lot of people and a lot of young stars aren't able to take his mantle on. And you see, obviously it looks like he's playing in character, but there's also some truth to that as well because, you know, ever since Roman Reigns got off the mantle, he feels like there's nobody that kind of took it over.
Nobody's had a firm grasp on it as of yet.
He's playing that character, but obviously there's a lot of potential for people to do that now going forward. But with Roman Reigns coming back, he wins his second Royal Rumble in 11 years. And there's been a lot of discourse about it. I know a lot of people are happy about it. A lot of people are upset about it. In my opinion, I think it's something where you can definitely work off of it. Where now Roman Reigns is kind of in a different role. He's not the champion anymore. He's tied up. He's getting the chase right now. So you can make it interesting. I feel like it all depends on how committed Roman Reigns is going to be on this road to WrestleMania now. Because he's the Royal Rumble winner. He's going to be main eventing WrestleMania. Again, for his 11th time, breaking his own record.
Yeah.
And the only thing that kind of didn't make made last year's WrestleMania pretty bad to me was we had the main event where John Cena barely was on the fucking shows. And that kind of hindered that WrestleMania match. Roman Reigns needs to be on these shows going and building into WrestleMania. And we especially need to see it after what we saw on Monday night. So we're going to jump right into Monday Night Raw. And pretty much this show was pretty much the first segment and last segment.
Yeah, this, in my opinion, this was one of the worst Raws after Royal Rumble of all time. Like,
there was nothing good besides the first and last segment.
Yeah.
So first segment, we had the show start off in a cold open where Braun Breaker was already ringside, wreaking havoc.
My man was irate out there.
And it was great. Like, Braun Breaker is one of these characters where he's just an animal, and you give him free reign to just act crazy and do whatever he needs to do, he's going to show that off. And that's exactly what he did, pretty much confronting everybody, calling out Adam Pearce and just saying that he wants to figure out what's going on. We had LA Knight come into a hit and run on the pole, and Austin Theory.
Yeah.
And Bronson Reed chased him off. So it was a crazy, chaotic beginning.
I'm not going to lie to you, that angle or whatever, it didn't make sense to me. Like, why is LA Knight just randomly gonna come out and just hit somebody with a steel chair and then run off?
Well, he still has.
I get that, but like,
they're the ones that took him out.
It really didn't set up the fact that my man Adam Pearce came out with a whole bunch of security guards because he didn't want to get his ass beat by Braun Breaker, and he called him out saying like, "Yo, you did this to me. I was number 2," and then he thinks he had a play in the fact that this masked man came out. Adam Pearce is saying, you guys have a masked man.
Yeah, and that's the storyline right now. Is Adam Pearce is pretty much really involved in this Vision storyline now going forward, just like anybody else is. So, I don't know. I feel like it's really chaotic, and I think you can play off of it really well. It depends how Seth Rollins is factored into this as well.
It can lead to a lot of things based off of that. You can have some type of tag team match. I don't know.
Or you could have, like I was talking about, like a double agent, someone that's working with Seth Rollins on the inside division. Like, there's a lot of plays they could do, and I think WWE is going to be very creative going forward, especially with Paul Heyman having his hands all over this stuff. Because
when is the Elimination Chamber? At the end of February.
February 28th. Okay, so it's at the end of, literally at the very end of February.
Last
so and the thing is, this storyline can definitely get better, and Elimination Chamber, all these things are all going to play a part with this Vision storyline. But next up, we had the first match of the night, which was Javon Evans versus El Grande Americano. This was a rematch because I believe the first match got stopped because Javon Evans got hurt. So they had to run it. They had to run it back. Javon Evans just continues to be a crazy, natural, athletic freak. He gets so high on every move, which is crazy to me.
He's bouncy. Like, what do you expect?
And he's like, but the thing is, he's so deceptively big too. He's 6'3".
Yeah.
And he's a big dude, and he can still do all this stuff. But ultimately, we had the original El Grande come out and make an entrance, and we know that they're going to eventually have a mask versus mask match. I bet. Like, I don't know when it's going to be.
I swear to God, if it's at WrestleMania, that's just
wasting.
No,
I feel like you can't do a one-on-one match for these two at Mania. It's got to be like I would say maybe like a chamber match if you want to have a filler in between the two chambers. Because
I could see that. Or Saturday. Are they doing
There's no more. I don't think there's any more in between. So I think it's going to be a filler match. But in my opinion, you let Kaiser pretty much continue doing that role and let Gable fucking get the mask off and go back to just being a wrestling machine. Let him play that damn Kurt Angle character where he's just so jacked now too, which is crazy. And he just looks like he's ready to kill people. I think after Mania, you gotta have a super level push for him. Like, I want to see him and Gunther.
He's so good.
Dude, I want to see him and Gunther running back again. I remember when those two were having matches for the Intercontinental Championship. They were all really good. I think Gable's on that level. If they push him, he could definitely be on that.
I agree.
That main event level if you wanted to be. But next up, we had also it was announced that they're going to be having elimination qualifying matches starting next week. I definitely want to see Javon Evans try to be in that chamber match as well.
He would have some crazy spots on that.
I would love to see Javon in that, but I'm curious to see because we don't really know yet exactly what the chamber match is for.
Yeah, because we kind of just already have this idea that Cody Rhodes possibly Jacob Fatu,
Yeah.
and even Randy Orton, depending on how they
Right.
push the storyline.
And even the WrestleMania main event is already kind of set.
Yeah.
So it's like, we don't know exactly. We'll find out probably next week. What are they really qualifying
the
for?
U.S. title, the IC
I hope
title.
not. No, you can't do that. If it's for one of those titles, that's a
Well,
waste
that's what they did a couple of years ago.
I remember, and it was a waste of a spot.
Yeah.
So I hope it's not like that. But next up, we had Gunther. Well, we had AJ Styles, who a lot of people thought was going to come out, and Gunther just being the ultimate heel, just coming out, trolling the entire crowd.
I remember I was watching this. I'm like, what? And then I see Gunther come out, and I texted him. I'm like, yo, this guy cannot be serious.
Gunther is probably by far the best heel in the industry right now. Everybody hates him, and he's just doing it so perfectly. And pretty much, he was gonna come out here to gloat some more. That's what he's been doing. He's now officially called the Career Killer. And we had AJ Styles' tag team partner Dragon Lee come out, try to fight off Gunther. He was doing some work in the beginning until Gunther laid him out with the ring bell, and after that it was GG's. After that, Gunther put his ass to sleep and knocked him out. Now I'm very curious to see what is Gunther's path to Mania, because they're giving him this Career Killer title. How much farther can you really use that? Who is he going to retire next? Is this the storyline he's going to keep going with? You know? And Gunther is one of the prime wrestlers in WWE, so he's got to have a prime spot in Mania, in my opinion.
I agree.
And it makes me think, I'm like, who is there next for him to continue this Career Killer thing?
He's not going to be in the title picture anytime soon.
Not right now,
There's not really wrestlers right now that is at that retirement level. You know what I mean?
The closest I can think is
Brock Lesnar.
Is Brock Lesnar.
That's like probably SummerSlam.
But that's SummerSlam, or that could be set for Obafemi. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know exactly what's next for Gunther, because it's definitely not Randy Orton. Because Randy Orton said he could go for another 5 years if he wanted to. So I don't know. We'll see what Gunther does going into Mania, because he's someone that he has to be on the show.
Yeah.
You cannot have Gunther not on the show, but it just depends what he does. Next up, we had Obafemi come out, pretty much not officially making his debut, because now the storyline is he's going to probably show up on SmackDown now too, and pretty much the managers are going to be like, oh, I want him. Obafemi came out and just destroyed the Viking Raiders, made them look like babies and jobbers. So that was kind of funny to see. It makes me think, like, all right, is the Viking Raiders like maybe out on their way out? Because like, if you're getting treated like jobbers at this point, like, you just probably go at that point.
They're just there just for the show, just to get their ass get paid. That's really it.
Next up, we had the Bellas come back. This could have been a backstage segment. I don't know why they needed to come out for this. But they just announced that they're going for the women's tag titles, which most likely they will probably get.
Yeah, why not? One last time at WrestleMania.
But the thing is, like, how can you legitimize those two girls beating Rhea Ripley and Io Sky? You cannot legitimize that, in my opinion.
That's true.
You need to get the titles off of them.
You know what I feel like it's going to happen? It's going to be one of those situations where it's going to be like one of those ladder matches at WrestleMania. I feel like that's going to be the ladder match.
And the way they win it like that. But the thing is, like...
But you think about it. There's so many tag teams.
There's a lot of women's tag teams now.
So why not?
You could do it like that. And it's like, but it sucks. Like, I don't want to see...
They did it last year with the men's tag team. They had one for each show. Why? I feel like they're probably going to end up splitting it at this point.
Well, there's no splitting women's tag. There's only one belt. So it's like... Oh. But there's no
so
Raw.
Then, I feel like it's going to be a six team ladder match
it
at
could
WrestleMania.
Be. But the thing is, I don't want to see Rhea Ripley and Io Sky get fucking slotted in a ladder match. Like, they're too good to just be thrown into a regular ladder match like that.
But why not? You have really nothing built for them as of yet for WrestleMania. And you have all of these tag teams gunning for them. You were going to have probably Raquel and Roxanne, knowing that Liv Morgan is going to be challenging for a title. And Charlotte and Alexa still a team. You have the Kabuki Warriors, who I know at the Royal Rumble had a spot where they threw each other out.
Yeah, but there's no really substance to any of these stories. It's just they're going to group them all together maybe and just throw in a match in like that. But... next up, we had LA Knight interfere against Bronson Reed, and who was Bronson Reed fighting? I forgot he was fighting. Who the hell was he fighting?
Some guy.
He just destroyed Thing. Oh no, he lost to Penta. Yeah, he got counted out.
Yeah.
So because of LA Knight's interference, so LA Knight continues to pretty much rattle the Vision and just screw him over. And next up on the segment, we had Dirty Dom come back. It looks like he might be cleared. I don't know, maybe a little bit longer because he didn't really get active on this. But he is the IC championship, still has it. So it just pretty much was a leeway into Liv Morgan coming out and making her announcement saying that she's going to be gunning for it, which led into Raquel Rodriguez versus Stephanie Vaquer in the street fight. In my opinion, this street fight was super long. Like, it felt like this street fight was going on forever.
I feel like the show is in general short, so they had to do something to make it elongated.
Like, for sure, because like I think this match went like almost like 25 minutes, and I was like, this is a fucking long women's match, because obviously they're just saving the end for Roman Reigns, but this match was super long. There's something crazy in my opinion about it. Stephanie Victoria ends up winning. There was moments where I did think Raquel was gonna win for a second. I was like, are they gonna do a quick title change real quick, just to like give more substance to this Liv and Judgment Day story?
Yeah.
But no, Stephanie retains, and that was the end of that, which led into the best part of the show, which was CM Punk and Roman Reigns' promo. And these guys, as soon as they stepped in the ring together, it was just automatic magic already, because they're the two best talkers in WWE by far. CM Punk was really good, but Roman Reigns was excellent in this entire promo.
This was his. I'm not saying this was his career-defining promo, but it damn near was. Like,
yeah, it was one of his best promos ever, and it was just so real, raw substance to it. And honestly, I don't think WWE has had a segment like this in a while since CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, when those two were going back and forth. And this kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier, where this couldn't work. Roman Reigns, it's fine if he gets the main event. He just needs to be on these shows. And this is a prime example of why having him on these shows matters. Because now, this entire WrestleMania main event, I got super hyped for it. Because just with this one promo that CM Punk and Roman Reigns had with each other, and we'll talk about some quick highlights about it.
Z-Bros,
pretty much. Roman Reigns obviously acknowledged that, but he said he threw that stuff all out the window. And he's basically saying that he hated CM Punk from the very beginning, and because of what he is and what type of person he represents.
This kind of sounds very similar to someone else, which is Seth Rollins, which is kind of crazy to think about.
And it's just like it's just so easy to view CM Punk as the one that left and pretty much quit and now wanted to come back and pretty much get the love from everybody else. It's just the easiest way to get after him. We had things where CM Punk went after where he talked about he's the one that brought in the Shield, which is true. But the thing is, there's even more substance to that story that you can break into, because when CM Punk introduced the Shield, he didn't want Roman Reigns in the group. He wanted somebody else. That's another story that Roman Reigns can use, that CM Punk was always against me. He never wanted me to be in the Shield. And then kind of, because technically Vince McMahon was the one.
He's just got to be there. That's all it really is.
And if he's in there, these guys have their promos, this could be easily one of the best WrestleMania matches that you could have, because I think these two could still definitely put on a really good match together.
I feel like now that we're on the road to Elimination Chamber, before we get into the full scope of what to expect at WrestleMania, I feel like we're not going to see Roman probably this February, but once Elimination Chamber is over, obviously Elimination Chamber is in Chicago.
Yeah, no, he has to be on that show.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, there has to be some segment where, because also, there's another thing we can't miss. CM Punk in this Finn Balor segment,
that's true.
They're still going on, too.
That probably going to be
that could be an Elimination Chamber match right there, and I could definitely see Roman Reigns coming out at the end of that match, pretty much confronting Punk again.
That'll be like the heelish anti-hero type of segment. And
it's obvious in this storyline that Roman Reigns is playing the anti-hero.
Yeah.
And CM Punk is the babyface in this. So, let's see who wins. For now, I have no idea who's going to win that match, honestly, because that match could go so 50-50, in my opinion.
And it's crazy that WWE's still on this Roman Reigns hype, rightfully so, in my opinion, especially because he is the real moneymaker. As of right now, he is the main guy that they can rely on to come in, draw the crowd in, and make a great example that, like, yo, this show is going to be really good. And this main event is probably going to be really fire, too.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, let's see how they play out with it. But now we're pretty much on the road to WrestleMania. It's all kickstarting. And I feel like every week, it sucks that we're going to see a lot of filler as well. But they just need to make it interesting. And I hope going forward, like, a lot of these storylines do play out where they make it interesting. I think starting next week with the qualifying matches are going to definitely become a little bit better as well. But this week's episode was pretty much just a filler. And we had the first segment and the last segment, which were the two main storylines honestly going on Raw anyway. But SmackDown, there's a lot of interesting storylines on that they can definitely hit on as well. So we'll talk about that next week as well. But WWE, the recap-wise, we're on the road to WrestleMania, and we'll talk about it here all next week. All right, guys, now it's time for our NBA recap. And first things first, I'm going to talk about my favorite two games. First up was the Lakers versus the Knicks. I believe the Lakers were in town in New York, and the Knicks kind of honestly won this game with a poor performance from Cat and Brunson. Like, these two did not play well at all.
Yeah, we had Landry Shamet have a
Landry
big game.
Shamet had put up 23 points in this game, which was their best player. But it makes me think, like, okay, the Lakers, people assume that the Lakers are such a good team.
They're still without Austin Reeves.
That's what I was going to say. Like, there's no Austin Reeves on this team. But honestly, it makes me think, I'm like, even if Austin Reeves didn't play, you should have won this game. Like, with Brunson and Cat playing like that, there was no excuse really for them not to win this game.
Yeah.
And you can't be beat by Landry Shamet, in my opinion, if you're the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah.
So the Knicks won this game. I think they have to have more consistent play from their players. And the thing is, we don't know. There's a lot of still trade talks about them happening, of trading a lot of these pieces away for the Knicks. So we're going to find out within the next few days, actually, what happens with the Knicks if they decide to stick with their team and stick with their core or decide to venture out.
Yeah, trade deadline, I believe, is on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's in 2 days. So it makes you think, like, all right, let's see what the Knicks are really going to pull. As for the Lakers, I don't think they're really going to do anything in this trade deadline. They're stuck with their players that they have. They just really need Austin Reeves back because that's honestly their second best player, in my opinion, right now. So with Austin Reeves in the lineup, that's another 20-plus point scorer right there. So the Lakers, we'll see what they do with Reeves back. But next up, we have the Hornets versus the Spurs. And in my opinion, the Hornets are the hottest team in the NBA actually right now. They are pretty much on, what, a 6-game win streak? 7-game win streak now.
They won today, or yesterday.
They are on a 7-game win streak right now. And it's crazy to think, Hornets won this game 111-106. It was a close game. There was a poor shooting performance from the Spurs, to be fair, because Wemby didn't play that great. Castle didn't play that great. So it was a bad performance on their side. But that's more credit to the Hornets' disruption because they beat a lot of these West teams. They're on a West run right now. And people always say that the West is better and more elite. The Hornets are knocking off West teams. They beat the Thunder. They beat the Spurs. And it's all by playing strong and good defense against these teams.
They have a good young core that they could really have for the next 5 years.
Right, and
if they coach him right.
If they coach him right. It looks like it is working with the coach that they have right now. So
Charles Lee.
Yeah, so Brandon Miller, looking like he's actually taking over the number 1 role spot at this point over LaMelo Ball because LaMelo Ball's been taking a backseat, and it's like one of those players where LaMelo Ball, he can get really hot or he can get very cold.
Yeah, and Con Canuple's been playing
And
really
Con Canuple's is playing extremely well as well. So let's see how their Hornets team is able to like utilize all 3 of those players together.
Yeah.
But right now it's working, and I can see the Hornets trying to make a late playoff play-in push.
They have some assets to get somebody too. That's if they decide to do it.
If they decide to, or they can try to continue playing in that draft round where they've just been actually drafting really good players.
Yeah, it'd be like the Thunder too.
So let's see how the Hornets play as well, but I'll let Farden go with his favorite 2 games.
Yeah, so the first game I want to talk about is the Thunder versus the Nuggets. The Thunder won this game 121-111. We saw the return of Nikola Jokic about a week ago, but it's kind of pretty evident that he's not 100% yet. The whole Nuggets team in general is not 100% yet. They don't have Aaron Gordon. They don't have Cam Johnson. They've been playing with pretty much their whole bench squad for like the latter part of this season, for the last couple of months. But in my opinion, if they get everybody back, I think they are the best team in the Western Conference. They had the coaching, they had the MVP, or in my opinion, the MVP, and they have probably the 1A to the 1B in Jamal Murray, and he could do anything. I know you said he's like the true definition of a volume scorer, and it shows. When Nikola Jokic was out, he was pretty much doing most of the scoring. And
that's what made him an all-star.
Yeah, and rightfully so. But the Thunder, in my opinion, Thunders are frauds. But then again, they are the best team right now record-wise. If SGA goes, the team goes, and we need a little bit more production from the rest of the team. Obviously, Jalen Williams has been out.
Jalen Williams is the fraud, in my opinion. I don't think the Thunder's the fraud. It's Jalen Williams who's not playing, and he's not playing well when he does.
That's true.
That's the problem. Chet Holmgren's an all-star. SGA is probably the top 3 NBA
but everybody
player.
else is just super mid, in my opinion. Like, they got the other Jalen Williams, who didn't even play a single minute the first, 20 games of the season, and now he's back, and now he's playing.
But I feel like they put so much stock in Jalen Williams, the shooting guard, because they thought he could be that guy.
Yeah, and Lou Dort is just really good on the defensive end. Cason Wallace is just your backup point guard, really, at this point, but he's starting. But the Thunder, they're beatable. If coaches get it right for the other team, I don't see why they can't be beat. Second game I want to talk about is the Mavs versus the Rockets. The Rockets, they won this game 111-107, and this was a much more closer game than people expected.
Mavs have been playing pretty good.
They have been playing really good. This wasn't really a high-powered game from both teams, But the Rockets, they just had a great overall team effort. And KD struggled, Alperen Sengun struggled, and they still don't have a point guard. But on the Mavs side, there's a lot of positive outlook for them. Cooper Flag, I believe he dropped 49 points one game, 33 the next, and I believe he had 33 this game as well. So
Cooper Flag is perfect in that forward role. He's not. He can't play the point.
If everybody was healthy, if Kyrie was healthy, if Anthony Davis decided to get some goddamn bones in his body, then they'd probably be a Western Conference contender. And I feel like next year, once they do get rid of Anthony Davis, which I think they should, and they could build around Cooper Flag, I think they'll be all right. And they just got to get the right pieces because they do have a lot of aging veterans on the team. They just need to get younger. And at this point, Cooper Flag, if he goes, the team's going to go as well. But the Rockets, they pulled out this victory. And like I said, they just need a point guard at this point. But that's my top 2 games. I know today we just saw some crazy trades that happened. And
I wouldn't say crazy. Well, it's regular trades. Nothing blockbuster.
That's true.
There's no blockbuster trades. Let's be honest.
We'll talk about it. First, I will talk about the Celtics. They got Nikola Vucevic from the Bulls. They traded Anthony Simons for and a second-round pick for Vuce and a second-round pick.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, I've been clamoring for this whole goddamn season. We need a center. We need a center. We need a center. We finally got a center. Granted, he's older.
He's on the older side,
He's not as defensive-minded compared to other centers.
Oh, absolutely not.
But he's still a good, solid double-double player. He'll get you the boards. He'll get you the points when you need, and he could shoot too. And granted, we still don't have Jason Tatum, but this is a great move for this season, especially if Tatum decides to come back, because he don't got to be in the paint as much because you have Vucevic over there that will get those rebounds and give that opportunity to expand the floor that they once had with Kristaps Porzingis.
Yep.
But now we have a more less fragile Kristaps Porzingis and Nikola Vucevic. And I feel like this was a great move by the Celtics. I don't know if they're done, but we'll see how it goes.
The only thing is you do lose a scorer in Simons.
Yeah,
but it's crazy because, like, he's a good player, and he's just a trade asset now, which sucks.
We knew that he was going to be the trade asset for them, but we saw Ryzen play in Hugo Gonzalez. Saw Ryzen play in Luka Garza. So we have some good bench assets. If Jason Tatum decides to come back, we still have a solid bench to build around. Yeah. So that's good for them. Another trade that we saw was Jaren Jackson Jr. going to the Jazz. This was kind of random in my opinion.
But they have a good team, actually, now that you think about it. That's a good three.
Young team, yeah.
That's a good 3 to have because you have Lauri Markkanen, you have Keontae George, who's a really good player. Yeah. And then now you have Jaren Jackson.
And Ace Bailey decided
and Ace Bailey, if he starts to play well, that's a good core player right there. So the Jazz, with their team and with their coaching staff, I could definitely see them making some moves in the future going forward. And it just makes you seem like, all right, what are the Grizzlies really trying to do now? Because they're moving on from Jaren Jackson Jr. We thought they were going to move on from Ja Morant, but maybe not, because now it looks like Ja Morant most likely will stay. So
for now.
But Ja Morant has been playing a little bit better.
Yeah.
So it makes you think like, okay, maybe he's just smoothing the waters over and let's see how it goes. But that kind of sums up pretty much what's going on in the NBA right now. We'll talk about next week if there's any other big trades.
We're still waiting for Giannis. We don't know what's going on with him.
Exactly.
We've also been hearing talks about a Clipper-Cav trade possibly between Darius Garland and James Harden.
Right.
Which, in my opinion, I don't know how that would work for the Cavs, in my opinion, because you have a more dominant dominant guard that will want the ball more than versus Darius Garland. You know what I mean?
But James Harden, he's one of the best players of all time.
It'll reduce the load from Donovan Mitchell.
Right, and the thing is, honestly, James Harden is super consistent because he will get you.
And he plays.
He'll get you 20 and 10 assists if you wanted to. So, James Harden, I feel like he's the type of player that can make it work in any system, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I'm not really worried about that if he does go to the Cavs. Yeah. I know he'll make it work. James Harden just makes it work. He makes it work everywhere he goes, honestly. Yeah. But if he doesn't want to be somewhere, you can tell he does not want to be there.
100%.
Because he done it in Philly, he done it in Brooklyn. And I know you were talking about maybe him going back to Houston. It's not going to work because Kevin Durant's there. And it's obvious these two do not like each other after what happened in Brooklyn. So he's not going there. I'm telling you that right now. Because KD, especially from, I don't know if you've seen that show, like the Netflix show about the NBA players where they do like I forgot what's Starting Five.
Starting Five, yeah.
They had a whole profile on KD. They had a whole profile on Harden. They both talked about they did not like each other and not like being on Brooklyn. It's evident they don't like each other. So it's not going to happen. But let's see where James Harden ends up. Let's see if Giannis goes anywhere, but we'll cover it here next week. But that kind of wraps our NBA recap for this week. All right, guys, now it's time to get into the NFL recap for this week. And before we get into the big game, we're going to talk about some quick offseason moves that happened, especially in the coaching side, because we had a lot of teams that needed to fill their vacancy. And it looks like every team did fill their vacancy already by now. So far, now I'll let you start off first with all the teams.
Yeah, so these are the top. These top 10. These were the teams that needed head coaches, and there were 10 of them. First team was the New York Giants. They got rid of Brian Daboll, and they brought in John Harbaugh, and this was a pretty good move for them. He's a great veteran, or he brings that veteran leadership to a young team.
Let's see if he can bring that young core together.
Yeah. Second team was the Browns. They fired Kevin Stefanski, and they hired Todd Monken, who was the Baltimore Ravens head coach, offensive coordinator.
It's a good move.
It's a good move.
I think it's a good move for them.
It's a good move for developing Shedeur Sanders
100%.
if they can build around him.
I think it's a great move because Todd Monken wanted he wanted Shedeur Sanders during the Ravens. And he got him now. He's on the Browns. And the thing is, what I talked about all the time with Kevin Stefanski, it was obvious that he didn't want Shedeur Sanders to play.
Yeah.
Now, when you have a coach that wants your guy to go play, the confidence goes up even more for Shedeur.
For sure.
So
next up, we have the most probably randomest hire, in my opinion, which is the Dolphins. They hired the Packers defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley.
I don't know what the
logic is behind this, but I'm a Dolphin hater because I'm a Jet fan. So
yeah, I could care less about what the Dolphins do, honestly.
The Titans, they hired the 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh, which kind of shocked a lot of people because
I'm surprised he got another job.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like how he got another job after the abysmal that happened with the Jets. But I don't blame him for that Jets dysfunction. I feel like you have a good solid core with the Titans. They have a good defense and they have Cam Ward to build around. And they did just bring Brian Daboll in to be the head coach of the offense. And that's good for Robert Saleh because he didn't really have that in New York. Now he'll have that in Tennessee. So there's a lot to look forward to. I know we talked about how this could be a potential opportunity for the Tennessee Titans to have that Bears-like leap next season.
It all depends on Cam Ward's play.
If he can play well, if they could build around him, I could see that potentially happening. Next, we had the Steelers, who shockingly fired Mike Tomlin at the end of the wild card game. They hired Mike McCarthy out of the blue, and Aaron Rodgers, we don't know what he's going to do. This is his former coach who he won a Super Bowl with. Will he decide to stick around? I don't know. Next up, we had the Falcons. Speaking of Kevin Stefanski, that's who they brought in after firing Raheem Morris. I don't know. Michael Penix is the quarterback there. I don't know if he didn't like Shedeur Sanders, he's definitely not going to like Michael Penix. So I feel like that move is going to backfire on Arthur Blank.
Yeah, I don't know why they would go after Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah. Next up, we had the Cardinals. They hired Mike LaFleur, who is the Rams OC, and the Cardinals are the Cardinals. There's really not much to talk about them.
They honestly did this because of how crazy and how good the Rams offense was this year.
Yeah, but Kyle Murray, I don't think he's going to be on the team next season, so they're going to be looking for a quarterback. So this is going to be Mike LaFleur's opportunity to scout, see which quarterback he wants, and then just try to build on, because they do have Trey McBride, they have Marvin Harrison Jr., we saw the rise in Michael Wilson. They just need a good running back, and I feel like they'll be all right. And I don't see why this wouldn't work for them, but then again, it is the Cardinals. Next up, we had the Bills. They promoted Joe Brady to head coach, which a lot of people did see coming.
Yeah, it made sense.
This is a good move because he does have a good rapport with the team. Granted, the owner's kind of a douchebag based on what he's been saying, but this is a good overall move by the Bills. And then finally, the Raiders, they hired Clint Kubiak, which is the son of Gary Kubiak.
Is it official? Because I know it was in the talks.
Yeah, it's official, 100% official. But this is a good move for them. They're going to be drafting Fernando Mendoza, probably 99% sure they are, because they do need a quarterback. But they have Brock Bowers and they have Ashton Genty, two young stars.
That's what I'm saying.
And if they could beef up the offensive line and just give Mendoza an opportunity to get the ball out, they could be decent enough to win at least 7-8 games next season, because we know how competitive the AFC is. Obviously, we talked about this in the past where Mike McDaniel, he went to the Chargers to be the OC for them. The Chargers, the only problem with them this whole season has always been the offensive line. It's probably been a consistent phase for them for the last couple of years because they haven't been healthy. They lost Joe Alt. They lost Rashawn Slater at the beginning of the season. But this is, in my opinion, the Chargers make a break season because you have the all-star offensive coordinator and you have an all-star caliber team. So there's no reason for them to struggle. Obviously, health is going to play a massive role in all of this. But I feel like Mike McDaniel, he could bring out that element to the Chargers offense, knowing what he was capable of with the Dolphins. Yeah. Now he has a 100 times better quarterback than Justin Herbert. So definitely a lot more utilization than that. Like I said, Brian Daboll went to the Titans. Good for Cam Moore's development if they could get the right pieces, because he was basically thrown to a team of nobodies.
Yep.
And finally, the Jets. They fired Tanner Engstrand. They got rid of Steve Wilkes. They just hired Brian Duker, which was the Dolphins defensive coordinator.
I love how they got rid of everyone but the head coach. They're like, okay, we're not blaming the head coach this time.
I can't just get rid of him after one season, knowing the talent that we had, the struggles that we had. Give him one more season. See what they could build around. The Jets are going to have good cap space, but we need an offensive coordinator. I know they've been talking to Frank Reich, and I'm not saying I'm a fan of Frank Reich, but we have no quarterback as of right now. But there's a lot to look forward to because of the cap space that we had. I know I'm not comparing them with the Patriots based off last season because they had the money last season.
But I was gonna say it depends. Do players even want to go to the Jets?
That's another issue because we have an owner who should not be owner anymore, and everybody's gonna look at the Jets like it's the same old Jets. So is this gonna be an off season where they're gonna finally be like, okay, we're gonna step up to the plate. We're gonna throw money at stars.
I feel like that's those stupid money they bring in stars.
But the concept is, and I know the Patriots are in this concept, you have to build around a talented young quarterback.
Yeah, for sure.
That's very cap friendly. And we just got to find out if they are willing to get that quarterback that they could be like, okay.
Or draft one.
Or draft one. That's true too. But this draft, I don't know about that. But yeah.
They're going to draft a quarterback.
We'll talk about some key free agents real quick. George Pickens, he's a free agent.
He's going to resign.
I don't think so because they given Dak Prescott $60 million. They just gave CeeDee Lamb. It's going to be another situation where
Jerry Jones will find the money if he needs to.
But
he will.
This can be another situation where they pay the quarterback. It's going to be like the Bengals, where they paid the quarterback and they paid the 2-star wide receivers, and they can't really fill out the rest of the team because they're about to lose Trey Hendrickson because he's a free agent. We also have Alec Pierce from the Colts. Quay Walker is a great linebacker. Jawan Jennings, he had probably his best overall season. Yeah. Tariq Woolen, who's playing in the Super Bowl, and he's probably a top 10 cornerback in my opinion. Yeah. Malik Willis, in my opinion, is the most coveted free agent quarterback because we know what he's capable of with the Packers system. Yeah. It's just a matter of transitioning well to another system. And I feel like if the Jets do decide to go after a quarterback, this should be the target. At least give him $15-20 million a year just to be like, here, 3 years, $60 million, see what you can do. And I don't see why they shouldn't. And speaking of the Seahawks, they're going to be going into the Super Bowl, and they have a lot of free agents, but they also have, I believe, top 5 cap space, which is kind of crazy to think about, that this roster, a lot of them are on expiring contracts, but they have the cap space to not only re-sign them, but also possibly get other people. But the sad news in all of this is the Seahawks, they're up for sale, which I don't know why, but if they win the Super Bowl, the value's just going to go up, and whoever the next owner is, there's a lot to look forward to at this point.
Yeah, but that kind of sums up pretty much exactly what happened in the last offseason and what's been going on pretty much ever since all the teams made the playoffs and now into the Super Bowl. But we're going to talk about it after the Super Bowl, most likely where a lot more stories come out. But that wraps up exactly what the NFL offseason and what's looking forward to
it, yeah.
The start of the offseason and into next year, where it's going to be even a crazier year. All right, guys, now it's time to get into the biggest game of the year. All year we've been looking forward to it. We've been culminating the entire year, recapping the entire season, and it's finally here. It's time to talk about the Super Bowl. Ladies and gentlemen, we're at Super Bowl, what is it? 60. The big 6-0. And it's a rematch from 11 years ago. We have the New England Patriots versus the Seattle Seahawks. And last time that these guys played in the Super Bowl, it was a crazy Super Bowl.
And what's funny is, ironically, when you bring the WWE aspect to it, Roman Reigns won the Super Bowl the same year that the Patriots
the Royal Rumble.
Oh, the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Super Bowl. And he won it this year, and it's the same teams.
Exactly. So it's like, these are two teams where I don't think anybody thought in the beginning of the season that they were going to make the Super Bowl. And they didn't think we were going to be this good, especially the Patriots. People did have a feeling that the Seahawks could be good, but not this good and this prolific on both sides of the ball. So it's time to get into our predictions. It's time to talk quickly about each team's keys and aspects and what we think they need to do to win this game. Let's talk about the Seahawks first.
Yeah, so the Seahawks, obviously the one question will always be, can Sam Darnold play well in big moments? And he's played well thus far. This is his biggest moment because this is the biggest game in the biggest spotlight, and
it's as big as it fucking gets.
Yeah, this is basically heaven for him to get into, especially what he's endured in the past in his career, pretty much.
Yeah.
So that's the number one key for the Seahawks. Number two, can they pick up on the Patriots' offensive schemes? Because we know that Josh McDaniels run the team, and we know what Josh McDaniels has always done with the Patriots is he's run the casual plays, short plays, and can Mike McDonald tell his defense that
It's the scheme that won him 5+ Super Bowls.
exactly and this is the same scheme that technically did beat them in the Super Bowl 11 years ago. Granted, they should have ran the ball, but that's a question. That's a topic for another day. If they can pick up on the Patriots scheme, if they can pressure Drake May, because we know he likes to hold the ball for a lot longer, and we know he has fumble issues, that's number two. And finally, can JSN overcome the Patriots secondary? Because they've definitely stepped up this whole postseason, and this is the number one wide receiver in the NFL right now. And can Christian Gonzalez, I don't know your other cornerbacks out there, but can the Patriots secondary slow them down enough? Because if they could take out JSN, it's got to open up doors for Rashid Shaheed, AJ Barner. They all got to get open because he's the main target on defense. And in my opinion, this has got to be a big game from Rashid Shaheed because we know he can take the top off the defense. We know he's a good special teams. This is probably the two best special teams in the
for sure.
But this got to focus on Rashid Shaheed on the offensive side because we know they're going to run the ball. Kenneth Walker's been running like a maniac in the postseason. But this got to open up play action passing for the Seahawks to get the ball down the field. And this is the ideal moment for Rashid Shaheed to go down the field, try to get some at least 30, 40 yards, But that's the Seahawks side, in my opinion. Those are the top three things that they must do.
So it sounds like you're taking the Seahawks, right?
I didn't say that.
Okay, so let's go into the Patriots side. So in the terms of the Patriots side, there's a lot of things and a lot of questions that I have about the Patriots. In the entirety of the entire season, a lot of people have been saying the Patriots haven't been playing good competition, haven't been playing well. And it all happened and culminated when basically the playoffs started. From the playoffs, everybody can consider, and there was people literally taking all these teams that the Patriots played up against. They were all picking against the Patriots because of the other teams that they were playing. Let's talk about first the Chargers. People thought the Chargers had a chance to beat the Patriots because they're an offensive team and they feel like their defense was solid enough to get them over the hump. It didn't look like that because the Patriots, they just dominated on the defensive side continuously. Next up, the Houston Texans. A lot of people had the Houston Texans beating the New England Patriots. That didn't happen because we made C.J. Stroud look like a bum. And that's exactly what happened. That's what he was. He was a bum in the entire playoffs. And that's on him.
I was going to say that. I think this was more of the Texans just beating themselves because
I don't want to hear that in the playoffs.
But it's true, though.
I don't want to hear that in the playoffs.
It's true, though.
That's the playoffs. That's not his fault.
But it is his fault. It's C.J. Stroud.
But the thing is, it's the Patriots' game plan and the way that they continue to design the games against them. And that's what the Patriots do every single game. They're the best team to come out after halftime every year. Every year, they're the best team out of the offense, coming out of the halftime. Their defense steps up and their offense steps up every time. And that's what happened pretty much the entire playoffs. And the Patriots, they did what they could against the Broncos, where that game was abysmal and pretty much a throwaway game because of Bo Nix not playing there and Jarrett Stidham having a good play only a good play on the first drive, and after that it looked terrible. And the weather played a factor as well, but now we're in Santa Clara. We're in pretty much beautiful weather where there's going to be nothing really affecting this game. These two teams, they're both going to be playing in. There's going to be no excuses, in my opinion, because one, it's the Super Bowl. You got 2 weeks to prepare on both sides. Everything leads up to this. On the Patriots side, we're going to have Drake May, 23 years old, the second youngest player to play in the Super Bowl. From the very beginning, I'll tell you one thing. I never thought Drake May was going to be in the Super Bowl this year. I never thought the Patriots were going to even get this far this year. And that's all due to Mike Vrabel and that damn coaching staff. We have the best coaching staff in the NFL by far when you talk about offense, defense, and special teams. We're loaded on all three, in my opinion. On the offensive side, not as loaded compared to defense and special teams, but I think the offensive side is consistent enough based on Drake May's play and our running back play, which is going to be my key factor in this game. I think the Patriots, when they run the ball, we're at our highest effective level. Because when the Patriots establish the run, it allows Drake May to do the play-action plays, to get the ball deep down to Demario Douglas, to Kendrick Bourne, and to Hunter Henry. And especially Stephon Diggs. And my man Stephon Diggs loves to show up in big games, and that's exactly what he is. He is big game Diggs, in my opinion. That's the way you got to call him, because every playoff game, he shows up. And Stephon Diggs, I can definitely see him having a good game this week. I want to see huge moments from Travion Henderson where he's an explosive back that needs to get the ball. I know Ramondre Stevenson, he is our number one back technically, but I think if you're able to coordinate and use these two, especially with Josh McDaniels.
They got to do what the Lions do with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery.
Yeah, for sure.
Because each of them, they get a carry, or each of them get a drive. And at this point, Trayvon Henderson, he don't even get a drive.
He doesn't get a drive
now.
right now. And let's talk about the Patriots defense. Honestly, I think the Patriots defense is not as good as the Seahawks defense in this because the Seahawks defense has a lot of dogs on that team. But the Patriots defense has a lot of discipline on that team. And that's the one thing that I think the Patriots are going to pretty much have over the Seahawks. I think we're not going to commit any penalties really in this game. We're the most disciplined team, in my opinion, in the NFL because of Mike Vrabel, because of the coaching staff. The Seahawks, that defensive, with them being dogs, I could definitely see some calls not going their way. A lot of defensive holdings, a lot of pass interferences. I could try to see Drake May and Josh McDaniels try to get a lot of those. Christian Gonzalez is someone that is not really known for penalties. He doesn't really hold. He doesn't really get called for PIs. Consistency, pretty much like I said, being disciplined. And I think that's what's going to be the keys for this game. It just makes me think that one thing you got to keep in mind is the running game on both sides. Whichever one goes off more is going to lead to play action, play more.
I think it's going to come down to which team can excel at the play action more.
Yeah.
Because both teams are pretty good at the play action. It's just a matter of which team can establish the running game to incorporate that play action. Because if you don't have that balance, it's not going to really excel well. And we know that they both have the offensive capability, or like the play calling capability, to create something or be creative on that aspect of the game.
All right, well then now it's time to pretty much get into our predictions of who we think is going to win the Super Bowl. So I'll go first. I'm going to roll with my dogs, who I didn't think they were going to make it this far. I think the New England Patriots are going to somehow have a crazy season. What a recap and what an end to this season. And I think they're going to win this damn Super Bowl. I think the Patriots win this Super Bowl 24-17. And I think it's going to be a very close game. It's going to be very defensive heavy in the first half. But like I said, the Patriots are the best team coming out of the NFL. Out of halftime, making adjustments. I think that's exactly what they're going to do. I want to see some big plays from special teams. Marcus Jones, in my opinion, is the best special teams player in the NFL. And we also have Brendan Schooler, who is a Pro Bowler, is an all-pro player on the special teams well. And it's just like, it's going to be a story where a lot of people didn't think the Patriots were going to make it this far. And yes, the schedule played a factor in as well, but we got through the tough teams in the playoffs. Maybe we didn't play the toughest teams, but roads lead to this. We're playing against the Seahawks, who was probably the toughest opponent we're going to be playing all year, in my opinion.
Obviously, it's the Super Bowl.
It's the Super Bowl, and I think overall, just team-wise, they're the toughest opponent we're going to play this year. But if we can get it done against this team, I don't see why not. This doesn't solidify a great Super Bowl and a great run for the New England Patriots this year. Mike Vrabel, first year in, winning a Super Bowl, it kind of sounds crazy, but Drake May, 23 years old, maybe an MVP and a Super Bowl, that's kind of insane. But I'm rolling with the New England Patriots for this year's Super Bowl.
All right, this, in my opinion, is the Sam Darnold story. You played against the Patriots many times in your career.
Never won.
And you never really won. You didn't really have the team. You didn't have the coaches. But now you have the team. Now you have the coaches. There's no reason for you to struggle. There's no reason for you to see the ghost out there. Your eyes is set on one thing, and that's winning the Lombardi Trophy. And I'm going to roll with the Seahawks. I feel like they played the best teams in this playoffs. They've outscored the best offensive teams in the playoffs, even with their defense. Like, we know what the Rams were capable of against the Seahawks defense, and that's exactly what they did.
Right.
But they need to counterpunch with that with a great offense, and that's exactly what they have. We saw a great play in Kenneth Walker for the first couple of games. We got to see this again in the Super Bowl. And like you said, as far as the special teams goes, I don't know if there's going to be a lot of punts this game, but I feel like there's going to be a lot of field goals this game. I feel like each team is going to get the opportunity to get to the other side of the field.
Right.
And we're going to see field goals from Borregales and Jason Myers. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there's going to probably only be 2 touchdowns each per team and like at least 2 to 3 field goals per team.
Yeah.
It's going to be a relatively higher scoring game because of that. But I'm going to roll with the Seahawks. I feel like I always say in a close game like this, it's going to come down to that field goal. And I'm not saying this is going to be a game-ending field goal, but the Seahawks, they're probably going to go down the field. They're going to get opportunity to hit at least a 40, 50-yard field goal. Probably like a minute left. It's probably going to be a tie game going into that drive. I feel like Jason Myers, he hits a game-winning field goal with probably like at least a minute left, and the Patriots can't get the ball down the field because the Seahawks defense, they stepped up at the end. I'm going to roll with the Seahawks in this one. I think they win this game 26-23.
26-23. And yeah, I'm very excited for the Super Bowl because it's...
We didn't see the Super Bowl. I'm sure it's like...
I didn't see the damn Super Bowl.
I was shitting on the Patriots at the beginning of the season, but then again, you make the plays when it matters most. You play the teams that you play. Obviously, you can't dictate what your schedule is, but you play the teams. You win the games that you need to win. This is exactly why they're here. As far as the Seahawks goes, they had a great season last year with Geno Smith as quarterback.
Yeah, but
Sam Darnold is not Geno Smith. He's always had that capability, and he just needed the right moment, the right opportunity, the right team to showcase his capabilities. He did that with the Vikings last year. Granted, he didn't play well in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But this year, I don't know what he did. I don't know if he took some ayahuasca and was like, yeah, I got to play better. But he's been playing really well, and he's definitely deserved the contract that he got with the Seahawks.
Yeah, for sure.
This has just been a great overall. I think this will probably be one of the best NFL seasons in my lifetime, in my opinion.
Yeah, this was a loaded NFL season, and we were happy to cover it from the very beginning. We covered it all, and now we're culminating to the very end, and at least one of our teams made it. So the New England Patriots are back in the Super Bowl. Can they deliver and win their, seventh Super Bowl?
Seven. No, six.
No.
Sixth.
Oh, yeah, sorry, sixth. Yes, sixth. They're sixth.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about my brain.
Like 8. Yeah,
yeah. But can they do it? I believe if they do, they tie the Steelers in the record. So let's see if they can do it. Robert Kraft sadly just got announced that he's not making the Hall of Fame. I don't know. This might be another factor that plays in for them. He's like, go tell your team, go win me this damn Super Bowl because I'm a Hall of Famer. I can see that playing a factor. So there's a lot of things that are going into this game, and I think it's one of the most undecisive Super Bowls I can remember. Unpredictable, and I don't know. See, the odds are crazy for this game. A lot of people are scared to take bets on this game.
I feel like the Seahawks are more favorited than they should be.
Yeah.
But I get why they are favorited, but not to the extent that they actually are.
Exactly. So that's the thing. It's so much like that you just want to take the Patriots to bet because it's like that's too much of a good deal right there.
If you bet $100 on the Patriots to win the Super Bowl, you probably win $250, which is kind of crazy to think about.
And with
I don't make the odds.
And that's crazy right now. But we'll talk about it next week. We'll recap the damn Super Bowl. I'm excited to see how this game plays out. But that kind of sums up our NFL recap and our Super Bowl recap for this week. But we'll continue it next week when we talk about the results and how it all plays out. But that wraps up our NFL recap for this week. All right, guys, now it's time to get into our best things that we saw this week, and we're going to lead it right into Farden, where he's going to talk about coming right into the Super Bowl it plays into.
Yeah, so I know this is one of me and Faiz's favorite artists right now.
Yeah, for sure.
It's Bad Bunny. He's going to be performing at the Super Bowl halftime show, and he just won Grammy for Album of the Year.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. And it's just a great thing because there's a lot of controversies that they shouldn't have a Latin artist doing the Super Bowl, but screw it. He's technically American.
He's Latin American, yeah.
So why not have him do the Super Bowl? He brings a great global audience to the game, and it's going to generate more views, in my opinion.
For sure. This is going to be the most watched Super Bowl halftime performance I think ever.
Yeah, you're going to have... I think the funny part is you're going to have women out there that have never seen a single down of football in their lifetime. And they're going to have to sit through 30 minutes of 2 halves of football just to wait for the halftime show. And not even wait for the halftime show. They got to watch the highlights of the halftime show from the NBC crew, then go into the halftime show. But I'm interested to see the numbers of the Super Bowl halftime show in the first half and in the second half.
Right.
But anyways, as far as Bad Bunny goes, he's probably the biggest artist in the planet right now.
Oh, yeah.
He won Album of the Year. He's going to be performing at the Super Bowl halftime show. This is great for his career.
Still going on tour.
And he's still going on tour. We know what he's been through over his lifetime, but I'm really happy for him. I hope he has a great halftime show. I don't know what he's going to do, but damn it, I'm excited for it.
Oh, yeah.
I think the best thing for this week and probably next week is going to be Bad Bunny, in my opinion. I'm just really happy for him.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about the Super Bowl halftime show.
Also, we just found out today that ICE is not going to be at the Super Bowl. Thank God, because that would have been a disaster waiting to happen. There probably would have been fights, riots.
Yeah.
And I feel like the NFL was like, nah, back off.
Yeah,
And I know Bad Bunny definitely had a part into it.
Yeah, for sure.
And rightfully so. I know he said ice out at the Grammys, but yeah, man, Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny, it's going to be crazy.
Bad Bunny.
It's going to be a crazy game. It's going to be a crazy
It's
Super Bowl
crazy to
halftime
me.
show.
It's crazy to me that a WWE superstar is performing at the halftime show.
Yeah, I guess that is true, which kind of plays a factor right into my best things that I was going to talk about this week. And it's pretty much the excitement to see of the new young stars that WWE's kind of pushing going into this year. And it's obvious that WWE sees that a lot of these old-timer wrestlers start to retire and get to their end. And they know they have to start pushing their young guys.
I feel like this happens every
few years, though.
I won't say every few years, every more so often, like at least every 10 years.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, there's a moment in time in wrestling where they get to the point where they know they have a core group that they can push all around. And that's exactly what we've been seeing. We've been seeing it with Trick Williams on SmackDown. We've been seeing it with Sol Ruka, who's going to be coming up as well. Lash Legend is another one in the women's division. And then the big one is Obafemi, which is pretty much, it looks like WWE's going to have a lot of their money
Also,
and chips. Javon Evans is going to be in that role as well, but Obafemi...
Braun Breaker's still young.
Braun Breaker's still young, but he's been
Mello.
up... Yeah, but these guys have... Those two have been up here for a while at least.
True.
It's been 2 years they've been up here for a while. But I'm talking about... It's obvious that they're putting a lot of their money and chips into Obafemi. He's going to be probably a future WrestleMania main eventer I can definitely see in the next 2 years. And it's good to see that Triple H and Shawn Michaels, who controls NXT, two buddies where they kind of obviously are always in talks with each other, and they know how to use these characters and utilize them in the main roster. And we're seeing it. I think all of these people that we just talked about are going to be playing a factor in WrestleMania. We don't know how yet, but I think they're all going to be making an appearance on that show. And I think it's going to be a big year for all of them for 2026. You could definitely see a lot of these guys picking up secondary championships, then eventually making their way into that top championship.
I think this is also going to be who wants the mantle now. You
Yeah.
know?
And with the guys like that they have, especially with the young guys in NXT and who's still coming up, they can all make a factor. And also another one is a powerhouse Hobbs, Royce Keys. He's a new one that just joined as well. So let's see what they do with him. But in terms of WWE future for 2026, I think there's a lot of promise to go to with that, because everyone always feels like there's always so much same old people, same old like wrestlers and storylines with the same group of characters that are always there.
Now you have that element where you can have those older veterans
mixed in with the young stars.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's gonna definitely liven up the entire WWE experience for 2026, in my opinion. But that kind of sums up our best things for this week and the episode for this week. So we talked about a lot in the sports world and wrestling world, and it's just all culminating to pretty much next week, where we're going to be talking about Super Bowl results. WWE's still going to be continuing their road to WrestleMania, and for any other sports notes, we're going to cover it here. But that wraps it up. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.